This will likely be the shortest video that I think I might have ever made. It is almost 3 in the morning, 15 minutes to 3 in the morning. When real men can't sleep, real men do the news. And since there is news afoot, because as I suspected, they were going to try to slide this under the door when nobody was paying attention. I'm the goddamn man on the wall. I'm always paying attention. This morning, I looked into the camera and I said the following. I said this. I said that what's most likely true is that Sanders won it. But they don't want to say Sanders won it, because if you do, he could scream, "I won." He'd get a momentum bump as he goes into New Hampshire. The person who wins tends to get more eyes on them and tends to get a bump when they go into the next state. Now, you have focused on the SDE number, missing the popular vote, missing the first and second round in regards to the votes, and chose to focus on something that is not necessarily indicative of the public choosing you as the winner. I hope you understand what I mean. Now, I said that you're doing two things. You're killing the momentum of the winner, meaning Sanders. But you're not just killing the momentum of the winner, you're also giving a bump to the person who you are pretending is winning, when the winning is not part of the process since you already have the vote totals. Meaning, by showing Buttigieg 27-25, you give this appearance over the course of a day, maybe even 2 days, that Buttigieg is winning something to which he might have completely lost. He lost the popular vote in both counts, the first and second round. He's only splitting delegates. So this last bastion, the SDE, is the thing that he's living on, and it's the thing that everyone is focusing on, missing the point that Buttigieg lost the popular vote. And again, it is very possible Buttigieg even lost this specific tally that they're trying to come up with. They're only giving you 70% when they already know the actual answer. And by putting out the selective number of 27-25 and letting that sit in the media for a day or two, it gives the public a perception that Buttigieg has done something that he has not done. Yes. Flat fact, absolutely correct. And you know how I know I'm correct? Look at the polling. So within a few days after the Buttigieg bump, why did Buttigieg get a bump? Because the media ran with this notion of 27-25, as if it was a real number. It was never a real number. I said as much. Steve Kornacki is being paid millions of dollars, and he's like, wow, this is a twist. It's not a goddamn twist. You only needed to watch my show. Yes, I'm salty. I'm pissed off. And yeah, I do want to celebrate to some degree, but I'm more annoyed more than anything else. Steve Kornacki, it's a twist. It's not a twist, Steve. They have every incentive in the world to do exactly what they did, which is what I said they were going to do. Look at what Buttigieg got. Buttigieg got a bump. He went up like 4 points. Buttigieg didn't win a goddamn thing, despite media showing the exact number over and over and over as if he did. Take a look at this. This is Real Clear Politics. 97% in, because once it got to 97% in, the Democratic Party was like, oh man, Buttigieg is about to lose this shit, even in the stupid metric that we were using. Let's cut this shit tonight. There will be no further results processed. No further results processed. Let's not finish it up. It's only been, several days. Right here. This is where we left off at 97%. Sanders votes 42,672. Second round, 44,753. Percent, 26.5 to 25.0. A clear win in the popular vote. Clear, unmitigated, undisputed win in popular vote. All right? Well, media, of course, wasn't going to go with the popular vote because that would have been too much like, rational human being common sense. So they're going to use the SDEs. All right? What about the SDEs now? That was the thing Buttigieg was living off. Oh, look at this. 547 to 550. 547 to 550. 0.1 difference. A 0.1 difference. Right here. The thing that he was living off, that they kept into the public's consciousness for days. They kept it in its public's consciousness for days for the exact effect that I said was going to take place. They were doing everything they could to leak those results out to give Buttigieg a bump, the perception of a bump. And what did Buttigieg do? He ran out victory. I say Buttigieg is either a lying bullshitter or he's a cheater or a little bit of both. Because there is impossible for Buttigieg to believe that he won that race without any information attesting to such. Even if he could look at his own data, it is impossible for him to know as a flat fact to go out and sleazily declare victory in the way that he did. And for the media to go along with it. And for the Iowa Democratic Party to leak out results just long enough for the public to get the idea that Buttigieg might win. Do you know? This is what it is right now. This is where we left off. My prediction is that Buttigieg is going to lose this. Just like I predicted earlier when I noticed that the Democratic Party was up to chicanery, shenanigans, fucking around, rigging, whatever you want to call it. Add your adjective that fits. Right here. So the New York Times, don't you love stories like this? Don't you love the story like this? Dewey defeats Truman. Dewey defeats Truman. How Pete won. And I wrote above, it's pretty interesting. This is kind of funny because Pete didn't win. The New York Times was running this. Pete Buttigieg, 95% chance of winning. 95% chance of winning. These fucking eggheads. These fucking eggheads. It's as if they know zero about politics. You have an entire party that is literally aligned against one man. One man that they don't consider part of the party. One man that they have expressed even on the pages of the New York Times. Stop Sanders. How are we going to stop Sanders? How are we going to stop Sanders? All of these puckered asses and red cheeks. How are we going to stop Sanders? All of this consternation. And when the Iowa Democratic Party, and you see the relationships with Buttigieg, and you see the relationships with Hillary for America, staffers, you see all of these like gross relationships. And it becomes very clear that there's a relationship between fiduciary and staff, between Buttigieg and the company that royally fucked up, didn't know what they were doing or whatever you want to add to that. And at no point does the media say it is pretty peculiar that they're dripping out numbers that way. At no point did media say, hey, I wonder where they're getting these numbers from. I wonder, are they cherry picking these numbers because they know which districts may be more along the line of Buttigieg's districts. At no point were they curious. They took everything at face value, which is the dumbest thing in the world when you're dealing with political actors. Why don't they know that? Why don't the New York Times know that? Why don't they even know to question that? Why don't they even know to question that? Why doesn't Steve Kornacki on MSNBC know to even question that? Are they putting out this information? How are they putting out this information? Why is it coming out in this particular way versus that particular way? Why are they putting out 70% of the results when it is impossible to know who won by putting out that number? And the only reason you put out that number is to give a wrong perception to the public, which is literally what they did. And they got their bump. Mission accomplished. Pete can lose this. And it is unclear whether or not he will lose the bump, because the media has lavished such attention on him for failing. For failing. He is most likely going to lose this. And the media has been screaming to the hilt that he is most likely going to win. New York Times, fake news, 95% chance. You know what they are now? Bernie, 54% chance. In fact, they even shut down this pointer. They said, we're sorry, the pointer, didn't have all the information it needed. Yeah, no shit. I could have told you that. I could have told you that. You didn't need a pointer for that. I could have told you that. You could have watched this channel. If you would have watched my video earlier today or even yesterday, I will be telling you the exact same thing I am gloating about telling you right now. Why don't you know that? I don't understand how you don't know that. Take a look at this group. Look at all of these people. All of these people are part of various indigenous communities that are here for the first time, learning the caucus for one Bernie Sanders. And they came out and they caucused for that one Bernie Sanders. And Bernie Sanders ends up winning all of those delegates. If Sanders wins tonight, there's a, it's they're calling it contest. I strongly doubt it's a contest. But okay, whatever. It's a contest. It would be to communities like this. First time out, first time participating in the electoral process in the sense of coming out the caucus. And yes, Sanders gets all of those delegates, the satellite ones. Again, he got those delegates. The other campaigns didn't even bother reaching out to those communities. But Sanders overwhelmingly won people of color. And it just so happened these are people of color. That was part of his outreach. If he wins, it will be on the backs of these people. Last tidbit. Last tidbit. Well, last tidbit. Because I don't want to go that far into it right now. I'm so aggravated. And I apologize to anybody that kind of ran up on me on Twitter as I was being an exposed nerve. So this is CNN. CNN is now have to come to grips with the bullshit reporting they've been doing for the past, 2 days. Despite the fact that it says 70%, you have an entire 30% that has not been reported. And then the indignity of going up 0.4% to 75%. And then you find out they were giving Bernie Sanders votes to Tom Steyer and Patrick Duvall. They said these votes are correct. People were looking through the votes and it was like, well, wait a minute, this precinct is wrong. And wait a minute, this precinct is wrong. Wait a minute, how did Tom Steyer get this many votes? Are you telling me Patrick Duvall is this popular in Iowa? No, he wasn't. No, Tom Steyer wasn't. They were stealing votes. They were giving votes that belonged to Sanders to other candidates. And they got caught over and over and over again. I shit you not. I can give you the thread of them being caught over and over again and having to say, okay, we made a slight adjustment. It wasn't a slight adjustment. It was a major adjustment. You were stealing that race and you got caught. Listen to Lemon having to deal with, holy shit, Sanders looked like he just kind of came back and immediately undermining it. Meaning, up to this point, they've been chest thumping that Buttigieg won the first gay win or something to that effect. And then, chest thumping the shit. They didn't even know. Like, how do you know? How did you know? What inside track information did you have with 30% of the votes outstanding? How did you know you were going to hit a Sanders enclave? How do you know that they weren't intentionally withholding Sanders enclaves? You didn't know any of that stuff. And you were out there prognosticating on your ass. And the wild part about it is Lemon is saying something here that I'm like, you shouldn't have a job if you are saying this. You shouldn't have a job because you're far too comically naive to be doing this if what you're saying is true. Immediately undermine Sanders. Well, I guess it's a tie. It's not a tie. He lost the popular vote outright. And it looks like it is very possible he's even going to use that dodgy state delegate vote. So I'm unclear on how this is a draw. In fact, to put it even more on point, the guy who got the most votes didn't leave with the most delegates. Put that shit in perspective. American democracy. The one who gets the most votes doesn't leave with the most delegates. And you can make an argument that, hey, this is like the Electoral College. Fair enough. You can make that case. But don't tell me it's a draw. He lost the first count. He lost the second count. He lost the state delegate vote. And because of quirks and fuckeries in American democracy, he gets away with roughly the same delegates. That's not a win. That's a loss. Call it what it is. By the way, if roles were reversed, under no circumstances would they be calling this a draw for Sanders. That's why I don't take any shit off of this.
And this was me, that just sort of observing that people had sort of written off Bernie Sanders after the heart attack.
No, that was just you. That was you and the people around you. You and the people who walk around at CNN all day. Just you and your little fucking bubble. Just you. The reason why I say it was just you, because anybody in their right goddamn mind that can look at what was taking place after AOC, after he gave that speech, and it looked like he was on an upswing. And then month after month, he was on an upswing. You can look at Joe Biden, who seemed to be trailing down, and Sanders tend to be trailing up. Like, I guess my point is to say after the heart attack, we just kind of gave up on him. Okay, when? Meaning you just took a perspective immediately after a heart attack and never changed the perspective? Really? And what were you and who were you talking to that reality apparently hadn't engaged with? I'm curious about that. What I suspect is that you are just talking to other people in your bubble. And other millionaires in your bubble thought a particular way that just so happened to be wrong. Just like you thought Clinton was going to win, which again just so happens to be wrong. Let's keep going.
And here he is. It could win. I mean, you could say he did win because I agree with Astead. It's pretty close. I think they both won.
No, they did not both win. They didn't both win. This state delegate nonsense. Fact of the matter is Pete Buttigieg lost. He lost in the first vote and the second vote. And again, what I strongly suspect is tomorrow, when they finally, restart the totals, whenever they restart the totals, he's probably going to lose the state delegate vote also, which is why they put the vote totals out in the way that they put the vote totals out. You have to be comically naive to believe that they put these vote totals out this way accidentally. No, I don't believe that for a moment. They had all the vote totals. They were trickling these things out and then fucking them up as they were trickling them out. Mind you, the whole reason they were supposed to be holding them were for quality checks. And it just so happens the quality checks put votes under Tom Steyer and Patrick Duvall entirely by accident. Yes, this is what rigging looks like. They just got caught. It's a caucus. And it should give you extreme qualms for going into the other states that are not caucuses, that are electronic voting machines, that may not have a paper trail, where the only way you're going to find out that you're being cheated is because instead of having, 48% from exit vote totals, you end up with 20%. And you're like, whoa! The media is going to do exactly what they did here. They're going to move along. Any testament to, whoa, this looks like cheating. Our exit totals are giving us a different result. They're going to say those were sour grapes. Despite what just took place here. Because they never accepted that what was taking place here was just rigging. So later, it's never going to become an issue. Let's hear it. The person who's here with Don Lemon, this woman is awesome. And she, for the most part, makes it very clear that what she thinks of Buttigieg, sleazy, sneaky, lying, bullshit artist, lying motherfucker, Pete Buttigieg.
But do you think they're gonna, they both outperform expectations, I think. So I'm wondering, do you think that they're gonna?
Again, what the fuck is Don Lemon talking about? This is not something that was taking place a year ago. They overperformed expectations. He was leading in the fucking polls for like a month. Multiple polls going into it. He was a favorite in Iowa. What the fuck is Don Lemon talking about? This is what I mean when I say he shouldn't have a job if you say stuff like this. Well, I mean, they both overperformed. No, Pete overperformed. Sanders underperformed because he wanted to expand the electorate in regards to the amount of people that were there. He went into Iowa as a front runner, just like he's going into New Hampshire. Biden massively underperformed. Elizabeth Warren pretty much broke even, right? But the notion that Sanders overperformed is lunacy. That says everything about you and frankly CNN.
Miss out on the bounty.
So I never thought he was counted out, and I thought he was going to win Iowa. So I think there were a lot of people who thought that. So it's true that because Mayor Pete kind of is, came out of nowhere in this cycle, that it is a bigger deal that he won there. But somehow Bernie Sanders does always seem to get robbed of everything. So I just want to say, we need to be careful about acting like it's not a big deal that he did as well as he did in Iowa, and that he may.
You don't agree with her 100%. You don't. Because you wouldn't have said the stupid shit that you were saying. You just wouldn't have. The fact is, you were confronted with reality and you had no choice but to acquiesce and agree. You're right. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. Fuck. They found me out. I'm Don Lemon. Let's let it keep going. I want her to get to Buttigieg because she's entirely right about Buttigieg also.
They actually end up winning and very well is going to win New Hampshire. And,
that was the point of my question.
Yeah.
Because people had counted him out, and I think it's just a real comeback.
Yeah, I don't know why anybody would have counted him out, honestly. Yeah. He's got such a base of support. He had a great organization in Iowa. And so, I think it was a mistake for any.
I got to be honest. I love the fact that she keeps sticking a knife in Don Lemon. I love that. He's like, yeah, I suppose people count him out. Yeah, I don't know why anybody would have done that. Nobody of, rational human being would have done that. Just you, Don. And it's not just Don. It's everybody Don works with. I mean, the reason why Don said everybody that I talk, yes, everybody you talk to, all of your millionaire buddies, thought that was it. But even if you were just stuck your head up out of your bubble for like a month, you didn't think all those Democrats flipping the fuck out? You thought they were flipping out for no reason? You thought they were talking about how do we stop Sanders for no reason? You thought Bloomberg jumped in the race for no reason? This is what I'm getting at. What I'm saying, I don't understand how you have your job at CNN saying what you are saying here. I just don't. I honestly don't. I am shocked that Brian Williams keeps his job. To some degree, I'm shocked that Don Lemon keeps his job after saying stuff like this. And yet, there they are. And I'm beginning to think that's not a bug, that's a feature. He keeps his job because he says stuff like that. For the same reason that Brian Williams keeps his job at MSNBC, because he's a flagrant liar.
Everybody to do that.
Yeah. And ground game is everything in Iowa.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And I understand that strategically that what Mayor Pete did was probably the right thing to do, but I found it slightly sleazy. I mean, because he didn't win and he didn't know that he won, and he went out and said something, and in the end he actually may not win.
Yeah.
That's what I said. It was sleazy. Now, what I also said, though, was in the same way that Pete Buttigieg, lying motherfucker Pete Buttigieg, came out and said, look at all these African Americans that back me. Half were white. Look at these 4 African Americans, prominent, that back me. None did. All were shocked that he put their name on the list. One was an out singing in the day Bernie supporter. So when I say lying motherfucker Pete Buttigieg, I'm saying it based on his own history and the shit that he's already done. Do I put it past him coming out doing that? Not in the least. Because you would have to expect media to hold you accountable for you to care about doing that. Meaning you can come out and say, yes, I won first place. And if media cuts you down to size the day after it comes out that the candidate wins, well, you fucked up. Because at that point, the audience is like, God, that's a lying motherfucker. And they would be absolutely 100% flat fact correct. By the same token, I have no expectation of media doing that. And I would imagine neither did Pete. So Pete can come out and be a lying motherfucker because nobody calls him on the lying motherfucker stuff. For fuck's sake. I mean, honestly, I am apoplectic, over this. Because media is so full of shit. So look at what Don Lemon is saying here. And to come away with that thinking, yeah, the guy's on it. He's not on it. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The notion that you would say, even going into the last month, that Sanders wasn't the front runner in Iowa, that is a bizarre perspective to take, considering you can literally go to Real Clear Politics and just look at the numbers. They're just basic numbers. Does Don Lemon know his numbers? I gotta be honest, I don't know anymore. And I don't even know if Simone Sanders knows her numbers. Simone Sanders, after Joe Biden's dismal performance, 97% to go. Joe Biden is at 13.7%. A distant fourth. Close to Klobuchar, actually. Very close to Klobuchar. And the front runner will get 0 delegates in this. Now, his surrogate, Simone Sanders, what do you expect her to say with this? Simone Sanders comes out. Last night was a good night for the campaign. We are thrilled with our performance across the state. We believe we will emerge with the delegates We need to continue on our path to make Joe Biden the Democratic nominee. Right here. That's a 0. That's a 0. He has as many delegates as Klobuchar. That's 0. That's what that number is. In Des Moines, 72 in Polk County, we doubled our projected support. We expect we will be on. Honestly, do I have to read the rest? Like, you're not going to get those delegates, dude. And not just not get those delegates. At the time that you put your tweet out, it was very clear that on everybody's list, regardless of how gamey and shitty the Democratic Party was with this, you were in 4th. It was understood. People would have been shocked if you were going to get delegates even at 10 in the morning. Just think. You gave up supporting Sanders to get on the Biden campaign because you assumed, wrongly, that Joe Biden was going to be able to just kind of run with it. Missing the point that Joe Biden has never won a caucus, he's never won a state, and he's been running for president for 40 years. That should have told you something. But I'm not going to keep this. I'm going to end this. We have people here. Owen Johnson, 228 people watching at 3 in the morning. Impressive. Or are you on the West Coast? No, I'm on East Coast. Go to bed, JT. Keep burning, brother. Burn the DNC to the ground. Turn the ship around. Nice news setup, Jamal. Bernie, Tulsi, 2020. Kosh 93 and Owen Johnson. Yeah, I'm going to call it a night. But just so you guys can see again, just before I leave it, Bernie Sanders winning the popular vote by several thousand votes. I can show you right here. Sanders votes 47,000, 44,000 to Buttigieg 42,000. He takes 26.5% of the popular vote. That's a clear, outright win. Delegates, up to this point, they're breaking even. Buttigieg, the SDE number, the number that they've been living off, Sanders is 3 away. Which boils down to, in case you were interested, 0.1 away. Now again, they kept showing you 27-25 over and over and over again for the last several days. And as I showed you in the beginning, I told you that was bullshit, that they were most likely doing that because Sanders actually won and they wanted to drip the results to make it seem like Pete won something that he didn't win. Pete yells, "I won," and it's mighty peculiar that Iowa Democrats, close friends with Pete since they were, out together, did exactly what Pete needed to get his bump in the MSM poll. Funny how that works out, right? And yet, mainstream media will tell you it's all a coincidence. There's no man behind the cabinet. It's all a coincidence. The catch is, after 2016, with the Democratic Party saying they can cheat a man in the back room, and with everything that you know about their animosity towards Sanders, why do you assume that this was random? Why do you assume that? What gives you that level of clarity to come to that particular assessment? I love your passion. Keep it up. Rabar. Oh, thanks, Rabar. I don't know if it's passion or just blinding white rage. But I'm going to end this now. We will see tomorrow, maybe. I mean, for fuck's sake, they may keep this shit going till New Hampshire. But we'll see. I would say this, though. If it was not for Sanders releasing his numbers, you probably wouldn't be seeing any of this. I have other words on that front, but it's late. So I'm going to turn in. Like, share, subscribe. Thanks all.